So glad you're here. So nice to see you. I wasn't sure those that have to end up watching it on the replay since they can't join us live, but that's all good. I just want to check in with everyone, and I'm curious if you'll drop in the chat and let me know if Tantra is something completely new to you, or do you have a Tantra practice or some experience with Tantra? I would love to know. So if Tantra is like brand new, you're not sure about it, put a 1. And then if have some experience with Tantra, or you've studied a little bit, you're aware of it, drop a 2 into the chat. I would just love to know where you are on the journey as I share a little bit more with you today. Awesome. That's great. I've been a nurse for decades, and I had a really amazing Kundalini awakening or healing with a tantric experience with a tantra lover over a decade ago. And it radically shifted my life. And my life is just so much better than it ever was before. It made me regret that I didn't do it sooner. There's so many things about Tantra, so many misconceptions. Like we think we need to have a partner to begin. We don't. It just starts with you. That delayed my journey by a solid decade. But there's so much that we can do even with manifesting. It's not just things for in the bedroom. It's just how we start to show up in our lives. And one thing with manifesting, we think when we want to be happy or to be successful, we think that we need to get what I would call like the trappings of success, where we are acquiring all these things, getting the house, the car, the job, the education, check from things that society has programmed us to believe that these are the things that we should be aspiring for. And then we're going to be happy and feel better. And it's actually, so that's playing the outside in game. Okay, I'm going to do all these things to get all these things happening out here. And then things are going to get it better in here. But truly the power is whenever we understand that it's really an inside out job, and that our outer world is just a reflection of our inner world. And what Tantra helps you to do is to start to change the landscape of your inner world. And when you start to shift things inside here, then things outside here mirror that and show that. Even when we're in relationship with a partner or lover, they are also mirrors, and they're mirroring back to us the relationship we have with ourselves. So if we start to have a healthier relationship with ourselves through self-love and other things with Tantra, then we're having a healthier relationship, and we're also attracting better partners. And we start to understand what it is to truly love ourselves. And when we know how to love ourselves in a healthy way, we can recognize when people aren't loving us in a healthy way. But first, we need to experience it for ourselves. Also, becoming our own best lover with Tantra helps us to attract better lovers. But just having this attunement and connecting to ourselves, that's where our power lies. It's inside here. And that's what Tantra really helps us to be able to navigate. Now, I didn't do a whole slide deck. I wanted to keep this. A lot of times when I do master classes, there can be a lot of slides and whatever. And I really wanted to feel the energy of everyone here. I want to share a few images to make sure everyone's on the same page with this and that you're understanding. Because I don't know about you, but I'm a very visual learner. I can show you some visuals of what I'm talking about with Tantra and with energy and changing those dynamics. I want to just show you a little bit about what I'm going to talk about as far as our energy and our frequency. Whether you're familiar with Tantra or not, is you're going to be familiar with emotions. This is a emotional frequency scale. This is measurements and energetically in hertz. So the lowest frequency is shame, down at 20. And the highest, when you're enlightenment, you think of a Buddhist monk that spends completely zenned out, spends hours on the mountaintops meditating. That's 700. And what they'll also call within Tantra is like Christ consciousness, like thinking Christ was an enlightened being and he was really expanded within his energy centers as well. Here's enlightenment. Here is shame. I'm curious if you'll drop into the chat and let me know, what is the youngest age, the earliest age do you think we start being programmed to have shame? Just pop an age in the chat. Like, what is your first memory of experiencing shame? If you're open to sharing. It's so programmed into us. Even think about whenever we were in school, how often were we conditioned by teachers to behave? And if we were misbehaving, we were going to be shamed. We were going to be put in the corner, sent into the office. It was going to be really embarrassing in front of our friends. I love this. Someone says 5 years, 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Yes. Thanks for sharing that. When I became a trauma-informed master coach, what was really shocking is the earliest times that we start being subconsciously programmed to have shame is age 15 months old. And there's so much shame in our society around sexuality. There's so much shame around our sexual energy. We'll use it a lot to sell things because sex sells, or you'll see a lot of movies or media things that have sexy images or sex scenes because that gets our attention, but it's not showing us the beauty and the power that can be experienced with that. Even right now within our world, all the controversy that's going on in Hollywood is someone having parties, these sex parties where people were taken advantage of. What does that do to us as a collective, as a whole? That makes us shy away from sex and think it's as bad or wrong. But it's not bad or wrong. It's an energy. And everything, even money, currency, we'll say that, I'll share this real quick, is an energy. It's a frequency. That's why it's called currency. And money is just an amplifier. So if you have a really big heart and you're a loving person and you come across a lot of money, that will be amplified. If you're a jerk and you come across a lot of money, that will be amplified. So this is just an energetic. So how are we being with that energy? And what is our intentionality with that energy? With Tantra, it's more like the sexual healing that Marvin Gaye would sing about. It's about really honoring the other, having a devotion, honoring the other as the god or the goddess within them, and really having this deep connection with a lot of intentionality and love and care and compassion. These other things that we're talking about that are happening in the world that are corrupt, they're doing things in a power trip to control people based on their ego, based on manipulation, doing acts of drugging people, not having consent. And this adds more charge into the collective of, oh my gosh, that's so bad or wrong, anything to do with sex, because we get it linked to these other situations. And it's not that sex within itself is bad or negative. It's just how people are manipulative with it and how they are going about it, how they approach it. And so everything has to do whenever we're navigating any choice point in our life. What is our intentionality? Are we here to be honoring and loving of others and ourselves and have respect? Or is this manipulation, or we have some other ill intentions and then we're being manipulative with these dynamics? Again, shame starts as early as 15 months old. And when we are ages 0 to 7, our brains, our minds, our subconscious mind is like a sponge. We just take in all this programming that we get from our parents, our society, people around us. So even when you're wanting to manifest money, just think of all the stories you may have heard when you were little of that money is dirty, people that are greedy with money. And then that can have us subconsciously have fear around having a lot of money because we don't know how we would handle it. Are we going to be able to handle it with integrity? Or are we going to be like a bad person with it? This is going to make us evil or wrong or bad. So it all has to do with our intentions and where we are. Now, if you look over here at this diagram, to the right, it's expanded. When you get around about, you're reasonable around the vibration of love, and Tantra helps you with self-love and opening your heart chakra, then you're expanded. And then whenever you're in these lower vibrations of emotions, you're feeling contracted. You can check in with yourself during the day and notice how you feel in your body. Start to connect with our body. Yoga is something that helps us have a mind-body connection. Tantra is the yoga of sex, and it helps us to approach sex where we are connecting our mind with our bodies, and we're not just approaching it from ego or our thoughts or a fantasy only. We're able to, through our 5 senses, drop into our bodies and really experience this on a much deeper level. Just notice within your body during the day. If something happens, notice, am I feeling tense and contracted? Or am I feeling expanded and open and light? And whenever you're feeling contracted, you can turn on some music that raises your vibration, have a little dance for a few minutes, take some nice, slow, deep belly breaths, do things where you feel more expansive. Because when we are wanting to attract and manifest things to us, we want our energy to be expanded. Think of your auric field, the energy around you. Here with shame is even lower than fear or anger or hate. Shame is like the lowest one at all. So if we are living in a society that is subconsciously programming us to experience shame, one, my belief is that it's also a way it's easier to control people when they're disempowered. So if they're feeling shame, they're not sure of themselves, they're constantly questioning themselves, then they're contracting down and they're playing small, dimming our light. Whenever we expand our aura, again, law of attraction, we will attract things to us. We become more magnetic, right? Our energy, when we enter the room, we can shift the energy of a room, and it can really be felt by people. And that's where people are like, wow, I really like your vibes and how it feels to be around you and be in your space. And so just being aware of that. And when we are disconnecting from our sexual energy, one, we were literally created from sexual energy. There should be no shame in such creation. That is the very energy that brought us into existence. So what a great place to hit if we want to hit a reset button in our life, to connect to that energy. And so when we can connect to that energy, we don't have to just create, that's our creation energy, right? We can create a human life with it, but we don't have to just do that. We can create the life we want to live through tapping into that energy. Let's say we're having celibacy, or maybe especially for people that are older, then if their spouse has passed on or has medical challenges and they're not able to share intimacy and things like that, they will just stop having pleasure in their body. And being a nurse for over 30 years, could literally sense with my patients that were coming in with different illnesses that they were so shut down from their sexual energy. There was like so much shame and they were just really stagnant. And when I want you to think about energy, imagine a body of water. And imagine a river and the water's flowing through it. That's what you want. So you don't have disease, dis-ease in your body. You want your energy flowing. You don't want it stagnant or stuck. I want you to think when energy isn't flowing, like a swamp, and the water's just still. And this film comes across all the top of it. And that's where disease and bacteria can grow. That's what happens inside our bodies when we don't keep our energy going and we play small and we dim our light. I want to share like how to shine our light. That's something I'm so passionate about, is helping you to amplify your energetics and shining your light and letting go of these disempowering beliefs or programs that are keeping you stuck and playing small. And you're wondering, why am I not manifesting things? Why are things not coming my way? It's because like you're in such a contracted state. Right. And so whenever you want to manifest and have more come into your body, one, energetically, we're energetic beings. You want to amplify your energy, and you also want to work with your nervous system so that you have the body that can hold the bigness of the life that you truly desire. When I became a trauma-informed master coach, one of the things that I learned in my trauma healing modules was that the 3 things that support healing trauma are breath, sound, and movement. For those of you that are familiar with Tantra, the 3 tenets of Tantra for over 5,000 years, before we had therapists and psychologists, the 3 tenets are breath, sound, and movement. And I had this light bulb moment. I was like, oh, no wonder I started healing from my childhood trauma. I wasn't really wanting to go about it in a way of traditional talk therapy. I'm a Scorpio. My birthday is this month on Halloween. We're like the sex signs of the zodiac. So Tantra was definitely the way for me to go. I'm going to show something else here that shows a little bit more with the chakra. Here we have these energy centers in our bodies, and we are energetic beings. And we are taught that we have physical bodies. We're just now starting to understand more that we have an emotional body as well, but we have an energetic body. That's why when I work neurotrauma ICU at UCLA, I would have my patients, and a lot of times we would do EEG monitorings where I'm monitoring the electrical output of their brain waves, and I'm constantly monitoring them on the screen. That is an electrical signal that's being transmitted. When I work cardiothoracic ICU, EKG, electrocardiogram, we are energetic beings, and what's going on with the heartbeat and within the nodes and the energy centers in the heart, and what waveforms are those emitting, and then we're picking that up and displaying it on a signal. Now, chakras are something from over thousands of years ago in Tantra, and most of the lineage that I study of Tantra is based from India. And they're called the center, the tube where your chakras are lined up is called the Sushumna Nadi, or the inner flute. And Nadi, N-A-D-I, means your chakras are energy centers, like these spinning wheels of energy. And the ancient wisdom and the mystics many years ago understood that these energy centers were here. And now with modern medicine, they've actually injected with isotopes and able to see these spinning energy things. Now, when I would assist with surgeries and be opening up and helping with open heart surgery, it's not like I would see the energy centers, but that they're there, and each center is also connected to the organs and supports the organs in that area. So at the very base of your spine is your root chakra. This is formed, I think, also from ages 0 to 7. This has to do with your tribe, your safety, your mother-father wound, inner child stuff. So a lot of times when I work with my clients, we also work with inner child wounds, because another surprising statistic is that over 95% of adults received inadequate parenting. So you got to think, why is the landscape of relationships so toxic right now? Why do we have such a high divorce rate? If we never address these things, and another thing that I recently saw was that the same centers in our brain that are responsible signaling centers in our brain for how our relationship with our mother and father is the same region that gets activated when we are in romantic relationships. So if we had dysfunction within our parents, we couldn't trust them, or we have an abandonment wound or something like that happened, that will play out in our adult relationships, and we won't even be aware of it. I wasn't aware of it for decades. So this is really key. And if we don't feel worthy, and a lot of our worthiness comes from how we were cared for by our parents or our caregivers, and if we don't feel deserving of something, even when we're doing all these manifesting things, it can block us because we're not feeling worthy of receiving the thing that we want. So there's a lot that can go into this, but just to understand. So you have the root chakra here, and then think too, whenever in 2020 with everything happened, and this is safety, your root chakra at the base of your spine, what did everyone focus on? Getting toilet paper. That's connected to your safety. And then also your tribe, wanting to fit in with your peers, because back in caveman times, if we were not accepted within community or society, we would have to make it our own in the wilderness, and we would probably die. So this is about survival. So a lot of the survival things within that root chakra. Then going up, the orange center is your sacral chakra. This is connected to this is your creativity chakra. It's connected to your reproductive organs, your creativity, your sexual energy. Now, this chakra is stimulated by your mouth and by your sex organs. So a lot of times when people shut down their sexuality, they will stimulate that chakra through eating food. How often have you heard a woman say, "Oh my gosh, this tastes better than sex"? They're stimulating that chakra. That's a way to do that. So that's your creativity. And if you're disconnected from your sexual energy, you're also going to be disconnected from your ability to be as creative and put that in towards your projects, your business, whatever your life's work is. Now, the yellow center is right under where the bra strap area would be, which if you're wearing a bra that has an underwire, you're blocking energy from your chakras. And also bras, also the bands of them, you need to be aware that it's impacting your lymphatic fluid and how your lymph fluid is draining. So there's a lot of reasons to be aware of, like what type of bra, what type of fabrics that they're made out of, things like that. But this is your solar plexus. This is going to help you feel more confidence in going forward in your mission, your things in your life. Then up here's the heart chakra. Now the heart chakra, the green one, that connects the upper and the lower chakras. So see that there's 3 chakras above that one, 3 chakras below. Now, and it's the chakra that connects us with the world around us. And when this one is open, that starts to vibrate. We're in a more loving, and we live more from a place of love instead of fear. We're vibrating more at a frequency of 400 hertz. That's much better than shame. Okay. So we're elevating our experience, but most people, the majority of our world operates from these bottom 3 chakras, like the hamster wheel. So they might build the energy, might start to build up from here. And then we'll do something and maybe hook up or have meaningless sex or whatever. And we just shoot that energy out without knowing how to really flow it to be empowered. And then we just bring the energy goes all back down to zero. And so we just will slowly creep it up. And then it starts to, if we don't know how to get this energy to circulate through our bodies, the turn on starts to be too much. It's almost like a dam that needs to break. Like it's like all this pressure. And I know that when I was operating more like before Tantra, like Samantha on Sex in the City, I was like itch I had to scratch. I was like, I just need to hook up, whatever. And I would go and do that thing. And then boom, my energy would drop back down. And that's how the majority of the world lives. But if you know how to bring that energy up and work with your energy centers, then you can bring it up and start to open the heart chakra. So many of us are blocked here from wounds with our mother and father. And they did the best they could. They also, this was generational trauma passed down, right? Or having a heartbreak and we armor up and we feel like we're protecting ourselves, but we're actually blocking things because we want the energy to fully flow. Then you have your throat chakra. For me, I was very talkative, very super talkative. My throat chakra was very overactive. I didn't get a lot of attention when I was a child. I suffered from like neglect. I was left at home alone a lot by myself, and I had to look out for myself. And my mother, if she was there, usually she was passed out drunk. So I like love to talk and super talkative. Now I'm more balanced. Now I can go days without talking and be very much in a meditative state. The other side of this, if it's a little bit blocked, then you have trouble like speaking your truth, saying your boundaries, using your voice, right? And so that will show up there. Then here is the third eye chakra. And this is what opened up for me with my first tantric lover. And your third eye is connected to your pineal gland. It is also connected to your intuition. So you start to live life from a more empowered, intuitive space. And then when you go up to the crown chakra, and that one is opened up, then that's when you're feeling like almost a channel, like connected to the universe, a bigger power, and you have like divine guidance. Like you get these little nudges. It's really amazing. And I'm going to show the Kundalini energy, but Kundalini is represented in Tantra like a snake. So if you look at the top here, those look like little snakes. And so it's stuck. This energy is stuck and dormant in our root chakra. And it takes some activating and doing things to get it to go up into the higher chakras so we can have the energy fully flowing. And then we're really empowered and really lit up. So I'm going to show another picture real quick of what the Kundalini energy looks like. And then I can't look at the chat just yet, but I will in a moment. But do you see how at the base of her spine, and then that energy is going all the way up, and it's like going up into the cosmos. So you're really connected even to your higher self, really super powerful. And then this is an image of like a couple being together, and with your chakras, when your chakras are open, actually I discovered that sex was actually better when missionary position. I thought that position was such a joke before, so boring or whatever. But when I was with a lover and and we've been doing our work with our chakras and meditating, and we had been intimate for over a year or so. But when we really started doing like breath work and other things like that, all of a sudden missionary position, he would finish really fast, and he had a lot of control over that. And he was able to last for hours, but he was like, we're like, what happened? All of a sudden it just got to be so powerful. And so what happens is when you're together in missionary, your chakras here are lining up. See how the bottom one, you're mirroring each other. So especially if you're in closer contact and then you're being intimate, so then it's almost like the energy would flow up to the top. So we realized that this ended up being like one of our best positions, but we had to save it for last because there was like point of no return. It was just like, and my lover was really frustrated at first. And then I realized, oh, it's because of the chakras. And so it really made a lot of sense. And I'm going to show here real quick on the vibration. Yes, breast sound and movement. Just checking the chat. Yes, the eye contact, because your eyes are the windows to the soul. I'm glad you brought that up. So in missionary, you also can make the eye contact, and that can be very edgy. So many people can have sex with someone, be butt ass naked in the bed with them and doing all the things. But if you want to look at them in the eyes, they're just like, and you could have done a whole bunch of wild positions. And then all of a sudden it's, oh my gosh, don't look at me, because we wear a mask. We're so afraid to be seen. And that's how we've been conditioned. And so this here is like whenever our vibration and our energy is low to the left, And then whenever we have all of our chakras, I say on and pop in, and everyone that stays to the end, I have a special gift for you. So you can check something with your chakras. But right here, this is where you can, like, when you're really going to improve your radiance, you're going to be amplified. And Tantra also helps with the nervous system regulation because of the practices with the breath, sound, and movement, somatics, all of those things are Tantra practices. The higher your vibration, the more aligned and connected you are, and you'll be able to really connect with others as well too, because you're really going to be this radiant being. But we are so conditioned to play small, not take up space, dim your light. And with that, I'm going to share just something really quick. I got this, my uncle that recently passed away, he's my dad's brother. My dad's been passed away for a long time. I got a little poem, and I got a box of photos and mementos from him, from the family. I'm just going to share this really quick because this is what I'm so passionate about, is like helping people shine their light. Hopefully I don't tear up when I share this with you. But it says, I met a stranger. It's called Share Your Light. I met a stranger in the night whose light had ceased to shine. I paused and let him light his lamp from mine. A tempest came up in the night and shook the world about. And when the wind was gone, my lamp was out. But back to me the stranger came, his lamp was glowing fine. He held the precious flame and lighted mine. I was like, wow, this is like such on an old little typewritten paper from some of my family. And it could even be, I have some poems from my grandmother who was born in 1890, her brother's book of poetry. I'm not sure where that one came from. And I was like, this is so wild to me because this is my work. This is why I love Tantra, because I really am just helping people shine their light. And it reminds me of the silly little song in church of this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And that's what I really believe Tantra helps us to be able to do. Now I'm going to share here. You see two lovers, and see how their chakras are also depicted by a lotus flower. See how you've got the lotus flowers here? I wish I knew who the artist was that did this. And then when you're together and connecting and those energies are flowing, you're breathing, you can literally circulate this energy through your bodies as you're experiencing intimacy together. And it's like nothing you've ever experienced before. I want to add this in here too. Another thing that Tantra helps you to do is, if you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when I was in nursing school, I heard about this. So it even matches the colors and everything with the chakras, because your base level, your root chakra, is just survival, your basic needs, food, water, warmth, rest. Then above that, are you feeling safe? And also with the sacral chakra, women are not going to be as interested in sex if they're not feeling safe or they don't really trust their lover. But even their G-spot orgasms, and they'll be more orgasmic when they feel safe with a partner. They'll feel more turned on and be more interested. It's really wild. And then going up, belongingness, love, and needs, the green, the heart chakra. And getting on up to your esteem needs. And then at the top is self-actualization, when you realize your full potential. And that's what Tantra helps you to do. But so many of us, for decades, I was a single mom at an early age. I was in my survival mode. And then when you can break that and go into thriving, life really opens up to you. This is another diagram too, and it goes beyond self-actualization, is also going to self-transcendence and getting a sense of meaning and purpose in your life. And that's what you can do, is you're elevating the chakras as well. So now that's enough of the photos for today. I'm curious, as I just shared that, does anyone have any questions for me? Just drop them in the chat as well. I'd love to answer any questions. What ends up happening is, with Tantra, when you start to work with your life force energy, you can manifest and attract things to you better, because we need to, there's law of attraction, there's law of vibration. When we are raising our energy and we're more expanded, and we're like literally this beacon of light to attract to us the things that we desire. And so you can use this energy and this turn on energy to amplify those things. And in Tantra, there's something called sex magic. It's not a dark magic. You're not trying to manipulate anyone or anything like that. You use intentions. See, again, everything is with intentions. So let's say I'm doing something with sex magic and I'm like, I want to manifest a partner. In that experience, I won't do those rituals or those practices with the intention of making someone else desire me. You don't want to have the karma from that. So what you want to do is You'll just be like this. When you're doing certain practices with Tantra for this and sex magic, you need to be in integrity, right? Because we want to have good karma. What you want to do is just be like, okay, universe, source, when we're wanting to manifest something, this is what I desire in a partner. And I want someone with these qualities. Now, if the universe sees that someone that you know that maybe you like actually has those qualities and thinks that's a good match for you, it could bring it in to happen. But you don't want to say, I want to make John be this, because then you're manipulating, you're trying to override someone else's free will. Just say, this is what I want. And then one of the things that we'll go into a little bit more tomorrow is going to be going over masculine and feminine energy dynamics as well, polarity to attract things to you. But you want to make a list and be really intentional and put on the list like the values of what you want in a person. Then what we need to do, like attracts like, we need to embody and be the male or the female version of that. We cannot expect to attract I know that there's opposites attract. That's more of an opposite energy, like the opposition, regardless of your gender, of masculine and feminine energy dynamics. That's how opposites attract. But when you're wanting to attract a partner that has the same values as you, certain lifestyle things, certain beliefs that you also share, then you're going to want to embody those things too. I can't say I want someone that takes their health seriously and is physically fit, and then me be a couch potato and me not be taking care of myself. But I expect that of someone else, right? The hypocrisy of that. Like I have an expectation that you do that, but I don't expect the same of myself. But when we start to be that for ourselves, that those are things that are really important to us, then we should do it for ourselves. And when then we're doing that, then we are actually even putting out a signal and a frequency to actually attract those things to us by actually being that. So it really starts with us and the relationship we have within ourselves and our ability to receive. So I want to just ask you here, I want you to think about, like, when was the last time someone gave you a compliment? Just pause for a moment and think about that. Think about the last time someone gave you a compliment. And now I want you to think about, did you receive that compliment and say, oh, thank you, I received that? Or did you diminish it and say, oh, this old thing, I got this for $10. Oh, or, oh no, I have this blemish here, I don't look that great. Whatever it is, or, oh, that's not that big of a deal. So I want you, if you put a 1 in the comments and put 1, if you were able to fully receive the compliment, or 2, if you found yourself pushing that compliment away, that you weren't able to fully receive it. Awesome. Amazing. Yes. So you got to notice, and we all can be guilty of this because we've been taught from childhood to be humble, right? Be humble, be modest, children to be seen, not heard, always playing small. Because what? We're easier to control the society when we're not empowered. So we've been giving our power away. Also, whatever stories we heard from our parents, where maybe they were focusing, and they may have meant, oh, I'm going to make them a better child if I point out to them everything they're doing wrong. So they'll stop doing that so they can be perfect. We have this perfection. And perfection is actually, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and perfection is also a way of, it's self-sabotage. It's a way of us, it's a way to procrastinate because we'll delay doing things because it's just not perfect enough. And I did that for a long time as well. So if we have these really crazy standards and we're like, I'm not perfect, guess what? No one is perfect. We are all here, human, having a human experience. So instead of putting these crazy standards and expectations on ourselves, when someone gives us a compliment, receive it. Because when we want to manifest things, if it's almost like you're driving down the road and then all of a sudden you're hitting the gas, but then you're slamming on the brakes. You're hitting the gas, you're slamming on the brakes. So when you want to get into the energy of being able to fully receive and to manifest, I want you to think of this. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Start to receive the compliments. Start to receive support if someone offers to help you with something. Even being able to ask for support when you need it. This was really edgy for me because if you couldn't count on your parents to be there for you, how are you going to count on someone else to be there for you? And this is how we can stay stuck and not get the things that we want or deserve or desire in this world. So work on your ability to receive, because that, I want you to think, okay, I'm trying to manifest, and I have like a little funnel that you put in when you're pouring something in. So you're just like, oh, my little funnel to receive is only this big because I'm really not comfortable receiving. I want all these things to manifest, but I only have this tiny little space for it to try to come in. And my body is really contracted. And how is this even going to fit inside here? What you want to do is expand your capacity to be able to receive, where you're like wide open to receiving. Bring it on. I am open. I am receptive. I am a magnet for what my heart desires, and really attract those things to you. So another thing here is also connected, is that our ability to receive pleasure is also connected to our ability to receive. Now, I didn't discover this until I had been a Tantra coach for several years. And I've had this awareness, and I was like, F me. I realized that because I'm a people pleaser is why I became good in bed. And like attracts, so I get a lot of clients too that are recovering people pleasers or people pleasers, and we work together with that. Because of course, anyone that's a people pleaser is going to want to learn how to be the best in bed. Think about it, because you want to really please your partner. Next time, whenever you're lovemaking, notice, are you only focused on giving pleasure? And do you deny yourself to receive pleasure? Pay attention to that. And the invitation here is to allow yourself to receive, to not only focus on the other. If we had a certain trauma or something happen in childhood where we were always having to look, where our parents didn't look out for our needs, we learn at an early age, this is something I experienced, I learned at an early age, so I'll just speak for myself, that my needs were not going to be met. So the way that I stayed safe in my home was making sure that my mom was happy and okay, because if she wasn't, and then when she got drunk and she would be in a rage, then everything was chaos, and I didn't want that. So I learned that my needs were not that important, and that I needed, for safety, to attune to my caregiver's needs and make sure that they were okay. And then that has me in relationships and other dynamics, looking to the other and being like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And then when I'm in bed with someone and being intimate, I'm focusing on them. How much pleasure are you giving? Oh, great. This is the best you've ever experienced. Awesome. Yay. So you have to be like, can I allow myself to also not just only be giving, but how much am I able to receive? This is a big game changer. When you want to manifest things, your ability to receive is so important. So I'm going to drop in and ask you this one. I want you to think about the last time that you self-pleasured. If you do that. If you don't do that, I'm going to invite you to start that, prioritize, put yourself at the top of your to-do list. If anyone deserves to enjoy your body, it is you or your longest lasting relationship from your first breath to your last breath. I know so many things can happen too, right? I get that. So I want you to take the time to give yourself pleasure, and even doing it as almost a self-love ritual, and play with how much pleasure you can allow yourself to receive. I'm curious, and this can be edgy in here, but we're all adults. So I want you to think about the last time that you had self-pleasure. If you gave yourself a quickie, this is what most people do, put a 1. If you took your time with yourself, give yourself a 2. And drop in the comments. No judgment. It's just, this is like how we start to be aware. Oh, wow. I said 3 years ago. Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much for sharing with me. So I want you to think about this. Whenever we self-pleasure, and yeah, definitely scream out your own name. You know what I mean? Get with it. So I want you to think about this, because we know our bodies so well, right? Like we know how to get from point A to point B. There's a million demands going on in our chaotic world. So I decided to do this at the last minute. I just decided to do this like about a week ago. We can be so busy with the things, again, on the hamster wheel of everyday life. And then when we do take time to have pleasure, We just rub one out real quick. Oh, I know how to get from point A to point B, boom, boom. And within minutes or less, we're done, we're finished. But I want you to notice that if you were to have a lover that would take that little time with you, would you resent that? I know I would. I would be like, are you serious right now? This is it? I spent more time shaving my legs to prepare for this than this. Like, no. But how often do we do that to ourselves? So when you want to expand your capacity to receive, a great practice is having pleasure. So I'm going to share with you a powerful practice I share with my clients. I want you to think of the arousal scale of 0, you're not turned on at all. 10, you're orgasmic. I want you to try to hover and stay around your best guesstimate between 5 and 7. If you stay at 7 too long, it can really quick go to 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now I want you to imagine that you have a straw. This is Shumna Nadi, from your genitals to the top of your head. So from your root chakra to the top of your crown. I want you to, when you are self-pleasuring, and even if you need to use tactile stimulation and touch the top of your head while you're doing this, go for it. I want you, as you're starting to build up that pleasure, it's starting to get up to a 7, breathe that up like a straw all the way to the top of your head, and then exhale it like a waterfall and let it drop down behind you. And then circle it again. Breathe it up, drop it down. This is going to also work to open up your chakras. I'll share an email to send this out to you. Breath of Fire video. I actually had a client that worked with me, and when I was talking to him the other day, he said the reason he worked with me is that he did my breath of fire. He goes, I know that you said on the instructions of the video not to drive while I'm doing it, but I was driving and I was like, oh, whatever, I can handle it. I'm an athlete, whatever. And then he had to pull the car over. And he said that he just kept doing the breath of fire. He goes, yeah, you say you can do 2 minutes the first time and then build up to 5 minutes. He did it for 30 minutes. His Kundalini energy went all the way up to the top and he had a Kundalini awakening. And when he shifted like that, he was like, I need to work with her. I was like, wow, that's really incredible. So the breath of fire also acts like liquid Drano. One, it will charge you up and energize you during the day, but it helps to open up these energy centers. So if you use your pleasure and you breathe it up through your body, you're helping to activate that energy at the base of your spine, and you're really going to start to radiate. So I want you to breathe that up. So when it starts to get really congested and you think, oh my gosh, I'm about to have an O, just let it diffuse. One, you can pause for a moment, or then just breathe it up so it's not all congested from like your pelvic area down. So use the breath, and where our attention goes, energy flows. So even just, you can play pretend in your mind. We believed in Santa for how long? We can believe in something with our body. So just use the power of your imagination, and then just imagine that energy is as you're just breathing it up to the top of your body, and you're just breathing it down. So powerful. This will really amplify. This will increase your magnetism. This will help you attract better lovers, because when you want to attract better lover, you first need to be your own best lover. If you're disconnected from your sexuality, you're disconnected, or you feel shame about these things, this is what's holding you back from being your highest vibration in life. How we show up in the bedroom is how we show up in the boardroom, is how we show up in the Zoom room. It's all connected. How we do one thing is how we do everything. And if we're going to play small and we're going to feel shame about something, like our body is literally wired to experience pleasure. We have all these amazing nerve endings to experience pleasure. And pleasure is our birthright. So allow yourself. We can have had programming when we were younger to say that was shameful or bad or wrong or dirty. And so we might shy away from that. And also, especially if you're single, it's important that you do this, because then you're not going to be tempted to hook up or do something you're going to regret. I know my mother was very promiscuous, but she was shamed. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is TMI, but my mom got in trouble. My mom was born in 1933. She had me later in life. My mom was shamed in like first or second grade because she was literally playing with herself at her desk. And she was humiliated by her teacher. So after that, when I was an adult, she would talk to me and say that she would never masturbate after that. And I was just like, Mom, I need to send you a toy or something. You need to do something. But then what would that have her do? She would just hook up with men when she was wanted her needs to be met. So then we end up settling or being with people that aren't a good match for us. So if you go into the grocery store and you're starving, you're going to throw a bunch of junk in your cart. You don't want to throw a bunch of junk partners in your cart just because you don't know how to take care of your needs. You loving yourself, you need to show the universe, higher source, higher power, how you expect a lover to treat you by starting to treat yourself that way. Start to intentionally date yourself. How do I expect someone to show up for me? Let me start doing that for myself. Because then you're showing the universe that you're ready to receive that, right? You're not just pushing that away, deflecting compliments, denying yourself pleasure, not loving yourself, or having negative self-talk. I know that we went through a lot today. Oh yeah, my mother shared a lot of stories with me. She was a wild one. But I felt bad for her because I could see how she was shamed. She was just young and curious about her body. And then she got shamed and called out in class for it. So that embarrassed her. So then these things happen. And then she was very promiscuous because she wasn't going to take care of herself. She was outsourcing it. And then, man, did she date some doozies of people. I definitely did not get good modeling on how to date from my mom. I had to undo that learning of what I saw her do. And I was like one of the last of my friends to lose their virginity. I was really afraid I would be super wild like my mom. And I guess I ended up being in my own way, but actually also she was a beautiful lesson for me because she was really comfortable talking about sex. That's my gift from her, because talking about this, and when I talk with my clients and we have conversations, they're like, you make me feel so comfortable to talk about it. I'm like, that's truly the gift that I got with my mom, because she was very comfortable talking about it. She had some other things that I wish would have been different for what my purpose is and what I'm passionate about. My mother really helped me a lot because that gave me more permission to explore and to be more adventurous and to have some shenanigans and things like that as I was getting older, so that I could explore, because I wasn't feeling shame or having that placed on me. Our parents have like gifts. We may not realize it, but if you've ever read the book Celestine Prophecy, it talks more about that. Now, what I'm going to be sharing over the next couple of days is, tomorrow we're going to go more into like emotional blocks and energy blocks within our bodies. And I'm going to drop here in the chat, though, if you want to check things out with your chakras, I have a quiz that you can take to see if any of your chakras are blocked. So I'm going to just drop that here in the chat and you can take that quiz and you can see like which one of your chakras are blocked. And our energy centers, our emotions are just energy emotion. So everything is so deeply connected. So you can take that quiz, and then even when we meet back here tomorrow, notice you might have some blocks, and I can share some things that can help you to open up any of those blocks that you might be experiencing. Now, as we're finishing up for today, I would love to know if anyone has any questions at all. Let me go into gallery view. Drop in the chat and let me know just a couple of words just to check in as we wrap up. What is like your biggest takeaway from today? And if you're open as well, like you can do like a screenshot or add on your stories or your social media and share with everyone, or invite a friend to join us tomorrow, and they'll also end up getting the replay to this. So if you know someone you think would benefit from this, definitely let me invite them, welcome them in. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So take that chakra quiz and let's see where you are. Yes, being open to receive, that ability to receive. And especially for males too, when I work with males, are taught in our society, the patriarchy just hasn't been unfair to women, it's been unfair to men as well. And men are taught to, you got to be strong, you got to be the provider, you got to be the protector, you disconnect of your emotions. You're programmed at a young age, like big boys don't cry, this and that. And then when you're with a woman, the woman's, I want you to be so emotional, how are you feeling? And they're like, I haven't ever connected with how I'm feeling. I've been taught to disconnect from that. And so that makes a lot of challenges in relationships. The women were like so emotional into feelings. And the men are like, wait, what? You want me to go into that? So I had a client that was in his 60s and he'd been married for over 30 years and he couldn't make love to his wife. Viagra was failing him. And we started working together, and within weeks, their sex life started to improve. And after months of working together, they were able to make love he was like, I made love to her for over an hour. She had 6 to 8 orgasms. And he said, we're having better sex in our 60s than when we were in our 30s, which is incredible. But another thing I would talk to him about, I was like, your wife really wants to know you. Like, you need to connect with her more. And so he goes, man, my wife gave me a big hug and said, Thanks for letting me get to know you. She felt so loved and connected by him because he was able to be more vulnerable. I was like, she really wants to understand your challenges, what's going on with you. Like, she wants to know that. And I had no idea that this would mean so much to her. It's really incredible how much their relationship improved. Yes, eye contact is so great. If you can eye gaze, even in a mirror, even when you're pleasuring, look, this is edgy. Look in the mirror and look into your left eye, because that's the receptive eye. So if you're going to look into someone, you're going to look in their left eye. Your left side of your body is your feminine side. So that's receptive, right? And then connect with that and look at how amazing you look when you're turned on and how incredible your body is. So here I share your biggest takeaway. The left eye, yes. Like meets like, attracts like. So this is all about empowering you to step into your highest vibration, your highest frequency, and stop dimming your light. Like, you are here to shine. You have this one lifetime that you're here in this incredible body. Allow yourself to experience some of the amazingness that is here for you. And stop apologizing for yourself or worrying about making other people uncomfortable. As long as your intentions are good and that you're not trying to harm anyone, live your life. I can't tell you, when I was at the end of life with so many of my patients, when I worked in critical care, they would share their regrets with me. It would break my friggin' heart, because I was like, gosh, and the people that you're worried about, that you played small for, they're not here with you. They're not even knowing that you're here taking your last breaths. They're just living their life. They haven't thought about you in years, but you gave up your life because you were worried about what these people would think that aren't even here. They haven't even come to see you once while you've been in the hospital with me for over a month. They haven't even come to see you. It's so sad. And so the reason I started coaching is I was like, all right, Tantra is the tools that help open my heart, made my life so much better. After helping with open heart surgeries, I can take the role of an assisting surgeon. So if I could be an assistant open heart surgeon, and I would help with that, and brain surgeries, robotic, all kinds of things. And I was like, these are the tools people really need. I was so frustrated with being with people at maybe the end of their lives in the hospital. And I was like, you know what? I want to meet people before they get here and help them how to optimize their health, how to live and be more vibrant, how to work with their energy and stop staying stuck and stagnant. And that way I can help them so that hopefully they can avoid being in the hospital. And when they do take their last breath, it's not with regret, because that was breaking my heart. And there was just nothing I could do at that point when they would share these things with me. So that's why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. And I'm so honored for every one of you that's here, and if you're catching this on the replay, definitely let me know what your takeaways are. And yeah, how self-pleasure is a mirror what you expect in your partner. There's so much more that I had to share. So I'm looking forward to the next few days together with all of you. Invite a friend to join along as well, if you're comfortable with that. If you feel too self-conscious with your friends here, then this is just for you. This is a space for you to feel good and for you to be able to ask questions. I don't bite. And so hopefully you'll be comfortable asking some questions. The third day, we'll get even deeper into having more time for any kind of Q&A. And people invest thousands of dollars to be able to get me to help answer their questions. Whatever I can do to help and be supportive, that's what I'm passionate about, because this has really radically changed my life. Blessings and blessings, everyone. I'll see you here again tomorrow at the same time. Lots of love.